This is our home, vibrant and full of life. But have you ever thought of that fundamental element that keeps our community so alive and in constant motion? Water. That is one of the key elements for a thriving and rapidly growing community like ours. And 50 years ago, a group of men started a water supply organization that would be the catalyst to the exponential growth we see today.
Before we organized and began serving water, the rural community really was rural. There were no street lights, there were no paved roads, there were no big businesses on the corner, just your local market or a convenience store, mom and pop stores.
Well, for drinking water, we just drank canal water. We had a cistern, came out of the canal, ran through a few rocks, ran through some smaller rocks, kind of a settling pool, and ran in the cistern. And we just pumped it straight in the house and drank it, bathed with it, cooked with it, and didn't do anything to the water, just drank plain canal water.
We did not have water then. We pumped water out of the canal, and then we had to filter it to supply 4 homes on our family farm.
See, before, the water that we got in some of these areas, and it wasn't very populated then, was through the irrigation systems. They would pump water through canals, pipes, and even berm canals.
And at that time, the federal government had organized what they call a water supply corporation option for communities. What that actually amounted to was people outside the city limits and outside in the rural communities had an opportunity then to create an organization that would allow them to bring safe drinking water to their homes. The original directors who organized Sharyland Water Supply just saw a huge need in the community, actually in all of the rural area across the valley, but specifically in the Sharyland, Mission, McAllen, Alton area.
The past board members, when I came on, was a bunch of farmers. You know, they were very civic-minded, very, I guess you can say, forward-thinking.
There were 6 of them, and they were just community individuals. They were farmers, they were business owners, they lived in and around the Sharyland area.
Jim Stulman was here almost 40 years, and I always looked up to Jim, and he was putting out fires and solving any issues that we could have come across, and we did.
There were sections where there were a lot of customers, sections where there were no customers. Then it would be maybe a group of customers again. Sometimes it was based on families who built a lot of houses together. I started out both as a meter reader and plant operator. When I was meter reading, there were roads you would travel that were so bad that when it rained, you could get to this meter on this side and you had to go around 2 miles to get to the meter on the other side of that hole.
So originally, our boundaries were Business 281 to the east, Benson Palm Drive to the west, down to the river at the south, and of course the cities were inside this big area that we served. So there was an area around each of the cities that was determined, and we did not supply water to those. But then our northern boundary was all the way to McCook, and also a few miles north of Monte Cristo Road on each of the north-south roads, Sugar, McCall, Jackson, Ruth, Hohen, all of those roads.
When we started, a lot of people around here were on wells. And as more people moved in, the wells depleted, or they were fouled, and they'd come in to us for water. And then all the new people coming in, because the area has grown in leaps and bounds. But Sharyland is what made the area grow. Sharyland having water lines where people could put houses in is what caused the rural area to grow as it has.
We have about 43 employees right now, 18,000 customers. So we're not a municipality, we're not a governmental entity. We are a private corporation, But under law, we are required to meet all the same standards, all the same rules and regulations that any municipality or water system would otherwise provide. We have 3 water plants. We have one over on Los Ebanos Road and the 6 Mile Line. That's our newest plant. It has the ability to produce 8 million gallons of water a day. Our water plant to the east is on Ware Road. It's really just about a half-mile south of Tres Lagos subdivision, and it also can produce 8 million gallons a day. And we have a water plant, our original water plant location at 5 Mile Line and Sherry Road, and it produces 6 million gallons a day.
Sharyland Water Supply Corporation adheres to strict standards to ensure all the public health needs are met with the utmost regard for its customer safety and security.
We have a process that we're getting our water from the Rio Grande. We are having our reservoirs that are providing 7 days capacity if something was to break down, to guarantee our customers our water is there for them. In case there's something that goes wrong, we have that backup.
The 2 water plants at Ware Road and Los Ebanos Road have the ability, the capability of doubling in size. Whenever we see that the need is there, we can double the size of that facility in about a year's time at each of those locations. This plant was put online about 2 years ago, and it was one of the things that we knew we would have to do, get it online, so that as the growth continued, we were positioned to be able to take care of all of the demand that would come our way.
We played catch up for the first few years because the problem at that time was having the funds for those developments that we were putting in. Replacing a 4-inch line with an 8-inch line, where you have existing meters and you have driveways and you have streets, is quite expensive.
Then there was a waiting list, and then there was issues with transferring meters, and we got caught up with all of that.
So I've been seeing a lot of growth. When I move where I live now, back then my wife says, you brought me to the boonies, and I told her, wait, in 30 years, we're gonna be in the middle of the city. And sure enough, we got a Walmart, H-E-B, a 3 Mile in Conway. So I'm seeing a lot of growth. So far, I've been working 37 years with the company, and mostly I've been working with different contractors, and we had a good relationship with every one of that works in our area.
The future for Sharyland is bright. I see another water plant. I see growing towards McCook area. Sharyland Water Supply is a success story because they've delivered the product and they serve the community by taking water distribution to the rural areas. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already thinking about a 4th water plant.
The corporation is probably one of the most proactive, community-minded organizations that I've ever been involved in. They're always trying to help the community in one form or fashion.
We've had a lot of really good people. We got people in the plant that have been here for years that just do their job. They're no problem. And they've gone above board what they had to do to get things done. And you have to appreciate that.
What we do, providing a life resource, water, the most essential element you need for life, gives us a unique commitment and perspective. And I think you can look around and just see all the growth that has happened over the last 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, and realize that without the water in this part of the county, there certainly would be this kind of growth.
With the passage of time, Sharyland Water Supply Corporation has developed a forward-thinking vision, enabling it to fully prepare for its ever-changing needs of its service area.
The A&M campus, the A&M University campus that's going up in Tres Lagos is supposed to open this August. And we're serving that community, of course. We're serving all of the properties inside, whether they're business, whether they're educational, medical, churches, subdivisions, everything that's coming.
Well, the impact we do for the community is as we grow, we implement better services for them. We operate the water lines so they can have a better pressure.
What I actually proud of is that for the ability that I have to keep this plant running at its best and be able to maintain this plant in case there's a breakdown, to be able to have the knowledge to fix that.
Well, you know, there were customers that you read the meter for 10 years. You never saw them, you never met them. And there were other people who came out to greet you at the meter. There were people who used to watch how many gallons a month they were using, so when I'd read the meter, they had a piece of paper in the meter box that asked me to write down the reading and the time that I read it. So they'd make sure they didn't go over the 3,000 that they get for their minimum. So it's changed considerably from a system that was a basic system to quite a large system that I think can rival the cities as far as water service. This area has changed so much. I come up to sometimes to an intersection that I have driven through 3,000 times, and there's something new on all four corners, and it takes me a while to figure out where I'm at.
In looking back, it's an accomplishment that very few other contractors can say, that we've enjoyed 50 years with Sharyland Water Supply. And what started off as 30, 40 colonias or subdivisions, now we have over 500 or 600 subdivisions. Now we go all the way to McCook. 3 water plants. It's a blessing.
My experience working with Sharyland Water Supply and being a customer for years has been wonderful. Not only do I get a family feel, I get great service, I get great water delivery. I am friends with my meter reader. To me, it's a family type organization.
But offhand, I just think it was a very good company to work for, to be part of. We tried to plan things out well in advance so that if there were other utilities involved and other companies involved, we met with them. We got it worked out with them before we're out there on the ground digging. It's always been a very good company to work for, and like you say, it was a family.
But what has happened since water came to the area is just amazing. And so we hope that as time goes on and the area continues to grow, we'll just be able to continue to do what we do. And people, we hope, don't even think about it when they open their faucet. They just know they're getting a drink of water and they don't have to worry about who's making it, where it's coming from, how it got there. We'll just take care of all that.
It's been 50 years since a group of forward-thinking men built a rural water distribution system that would help raise the standard of living in their community. Sharyland Water Supply Corporation has been and will continue to be a vital ingredient to the growth we see in our communities today.